episode of the Gunman Raw. So today we've got this VF Commodore and we're going to be painting it. So as you see, we've got 2 new parts, an original bumper and 2 blends. Anyway, the job's all prepped up. The masking's actually already done, but I did cover it up. And yeah, let's get into it. So I've got some wet on wet in the gun here. I actually just had to replace the battery in this. It was a very easy job. I found them on eBay. I found the batteries on eBay for like, I got 2 for $10. Better than the old Envirobase where you have to send them back and supposedly they would replace the whole unit because it was cheaper than replacing the batteries. I'm sure a few of you would know about that. It's a bit of a colder morning today actually, so I've got the clear coat in the booth here. That can start warming up as we're putting the wet on wet and the base coat down, but for this wet on wet stage I've actually got the burner just down to 20 degrees Celsius. You don't want it to be too hot when you're putting the wet on wet down. You don't want this wet on wet sort of like, especially on a bonnet like this, you don't want it drying too fast. I've actually been putting a drop mile reducer in my wet on wet these days and it's been going quite well. This bumper here had actually already been done before, which to be honest that actually helped me sand out some of the tips because there was a bit more material there. But I'm pretty confident I picked them all up, all the stone tips. I don't like painting over old damage. Where it can be avoided, sometimes you have to. But yeah, this wet on wet, it helps seal it all down. It also helps with the adhesion, especially like on the new panels. And it also helps with the coverage when we do go to put the colour down. So I did have somebody ask, like, what are the advantages? Is it just speed? And no, it's not just speed. It's adhesion, speed, and also it seals it down. So yeah, and coverage. That does a few purposes. Anyway, I'm going to go and mix up the rest of my colour and crank the booth temperature up to 30 degrees so it starts flushing off. See you back soon. Alright, continuing on with this job. Here is one I prepared earlier, all ready to go. I got that all ready last night, so I just threw that bit of paper over there just so I don't get wet on wet overspray. And isn't that just the best, silkiest, smoothest looking wet on wet ever? Yeah, that's one of the biggest things I like about the PPG system.
Yeah, the two main things, my two favorite things is it's so easy to blend and the wet on wet. As it turns out, this color here was straight off the machine. I didn't actually have to muck with it. I had one of the PPG reps come out a couple of weeks ago, and he showed me, he was actually very polite and you know, kind and stuff like, I guess polite is probably a better word, but he was cool. And Rowan's his name, so shout out to Rowan. Thanks for helping out. He's probably not watching this because he told me he doesn't do social media because of all the nasty shit, the nasty people. I can't blame him for that. But yeah, so he taught me how he does the Spectro, and it's different than some of the other guys taught me, or even some of the other guys do. But what he said that he does is he'll like take a reading here and then a reading on the other side, and then he'll look for a common variant, and he'll usually mix that one up even if there's no color card. So he doesn't use the color cards. Usually for me, like, color card was always my first go-to. But yeah, he's sort of given me a bit of advice. And look, as it turned out, this one here, it didn't work because there was no common variance. So when I asked him, I said, what do you do if there is no common variance? He said, well, that tells you that it's been painted before, that you've actually got two different colors. And he was right, because that side has been painted before. So yeah, look, all in all, hopefully I can improve the color matches, because I know some people seem to say that they don't have these color issues with PPG. So yeah, hopefully I can improve it, because I think what we've got is the foundations of a good system, but I've just been struggling with a couple of things on the peripheries, you know what I mean? Like the clear, sometimes that can be temperamental if you don't get the viscosity right, and it's caught me out a couple of times where I'm like, because it's actually starting to cool down, as I mentioned. So like a couple of days ago, last week it was, I did a respray, and I'd always been going 0.9 all summer, and, oh sorry, 0.8 reducer all summer. So I thought, oh, it's a little bit colder, I'll just go 0.9, it will be fine. But as it turned out, it was actually still a little bit too thick, even at 0.9. So I either should have heated the clear up or reduced it a little bit more. But as I say, like, it's one of those things, you live and learn, you know, as long as you learn from your mistakes, it's not the end of the world, is it? Now, somebody mentioned recently, they said, hey, why don't you use the Bellaria more often? And my answer is I actually do use it quite a lot. So I use it for my base coat blender here. That's my permanent base coat blender gun. So hey, I think that's an honorable position to have. It gets used on every single silver blend. So the reason you may not have seen it in videos is because I might not have used that in the videos that I might not have been doing light metallics in the videos that I've been doing lately, but I do use it a lot actually. So anyway, enough gas bagging, Gunny. Let's just paint some shit. So I had already prep sold them and everything. They're ready to go, those blends. I'm actually going to do a color card here. Yeah, the coverage is not the best on this one. It's got a lot of fine metallics, but also a lot of coarse metallics. So what I think I might do is just put an extra coat here. That's the main area that you're really going to notice it, I reckon. And even maybe just these edges of the bumpers as well. And then I'll just continue on with the rest of the job like normal. Because yeah, even when I was doing my spray out, my initial spray out, just to check the colour, I noticed that it wasn't covering very good. So what I did was I covered half of it up. I did an extra coat, like a fourth coat, and the one with the fourth coat looks good. The one with the three coats looks quite light. So yeah, that's why I'm putting the extra coat on. Anyway,
Another thing that I've done is I've mixed up a engine bay variant. So the inside of these bonnets, they actually don't have clear coat on them from factory. So what I did there is I put some hardener and some engine bay converter into the base coat, and I've got a separate pot over there. I'll put that on in a second. I'll get this coat on the outside first. I'll swap pots over. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing some jobs from home, to be honest. I just spoke to the paint rep from Alan Mance Motors, and he's going to hook me up with some materials and that, so that'll be cool. Nearly forgot, I gotta swap over. Just gotta be careful you don't get a little bit. I got a pot drip the other day by doing this, I reckon. When I did that respray, you've probably seen that video, but anyway, let's go. So just one coat on the inside is all we're gonna need. And as I say, this has got hardener in it, so that's gonna give it durability. It'll be chemical resistant. If any thinners or anything, any engine bay chemicals or oils get spilt onto it, it will be resistant to all of those. So that's pretty important. But yeah, I've been talking about it recently on the Broad channel, but I recently moved house and I've been doing some painting, so like, I got this place really cheap. It's in a good area, but it's like really cheap. But there's a catch. The house is pretty rough, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah man, I've just been doing paint work here and there, and just a bit of home improvement, cleaning the yard up, just cleaning the whole place up. I bought myself a security system, and yeah, it's gonna be a good house for me in the long term, I hope, anyway. Yeah, sure, I'm still renting, but I don't mind. I know some people are like, oh, why would you do that to a rental? But it's like, I still have to live there, you know, like I'm still living there, you know. The way I see it, it's my house for now. If I'm paying every week for that to be my house, I may as well make it look good while I'm living there. I don't know. I don't mind spending a little bit of money on some home improvement things, and yeah. That engine bay colour in the inside edge of the guard. That's about it for the 200 mils. There's 200 mils in there and 850 for the rest of the car, so that's yeah, 1.05 I guess litres. Just for reference, if you're interested how much I needed for this job here. Yeah, I think I'll be glad I did that when this car's sitting out in the sun and it's not see-through. That actually happened to one of the other guys here a couple of weeks ago. He did a silver car, he's like a Honda or something like that, and he got it outside, and the door that he painted was see-through, so yeah, nobody really wants that. I will actually make a note on the back of that card. I will say like 4 coats, not 3, just so I know in the future. Because I mean, this colour here is it's a common enough colour to have a spray out. And yeah, next time it comes in, I'll probably just mix and paint it this variant, because it's a very good variant. But yeah, it's good to know that you need that extra coat on it, obviously. Anyway, so I've still been doing 20% reducer in the PPG Envirobase. And first coat 20 psi, second coat 20 psi, third coat 15 PSI. As for the fluid adjustment, it goes first coat 1 turn in, second coat 1.5 turns in, third coat 2 turns in. So pretty straightforward and easy to remember settings for me anyway. Alrighty then. Nearly ready to go on with those blends. We'll do this guard first. It seems to be drying down okay this morning actually. The humidity must not be there. You know what, for what it's worth, I'm going to give those blends another quick tack rag, because maybe a little bit of the dusty overspray from the rest of the panels has landed here. I bet it would have, so I've actually been loving these tack rags. These are the 3M tack rags. I think they're called like 3M Aqua, and they're really good. Previous to this we were using the Gerson branded tack rags, and they are just terrible, man. Oh, can't believe I used to use them and like them. Too far? Malaria, baby, here it is. So you don't want to go too wet with this. Just sort of like medium. Like they actually say, the PPG reps say that you don't even need this at all, like the base coat blender, but I like to do it. I found that if I don't do it, I get sanding scratches showing up. The Woody edition. Get your Woody out of your hands, Johnny. I've always sort of tried to keep the blend under the mirror when possible. So when the mirror goes back on, there's sort of a bit of a shadow, I guess, sort of hiding it. We'll see how well this colour covers. It seems to cover well over that slightly darker primer on the guard there, but still not the best. Just go a little bit heavier on those spots that are not covering. Yeah, that's nearly ready for the next coat. Anyway, I'll give that a blow for a second. I'll see you back here. Alright, time for our second or third coat on the guard. So what do? We go half a turn in, but we leave the pressure the same, 20 PSI. That already looks covered, pretty well covered. Actually looks to be blending quite well too, to be honest. I must say that with PPG silvers are one of their stronger plates. They actually match better than most of their other colours, so yeah. They blend easy, they match pretty well generally. You can see that, like, if this was Sando Blue, you would have overspray all over that end. And you guys know that I love my Sando Blue, so it's not a diss. I definitely love it, but that's just what happens. It is what it is, man. But yeah, one good thing about my new house is that it's only 10 minutes away from work, so especially at a time when petrol prices are getting out of control, it's good to save a little bit at the pump. Also good having my little Corolla, which is very efficient. But yeah, I totally agree with this guy called, I think it's SLV Refinisher. He's pretty big on Instagram and TikTok. But what he says is like about overlap. I don't know, but I agree with him. But it's like most painters don't really look at the overlap. They don't pay much attention. You're watching the panel. You're watching how the paint is going on. You're not really concentrating on some arbitrary percent, which you can't really actually measure accurately anyway. What are you going to do? 35%? Well, what's 35? I don't know. I'm just watching the paint, man. What's your 35% overlap? That doesn't mean much to me, man. I mean, if you want to say, yeah, like a tight overlap, I can do that, but putting a percentage on it seems a bit strange to me anyway. Now, hopefully I'm going to have enough paint. I should do. Yeah. Because, yeah, for the last coat you generally don't use as much. That's dried down quite fast, as you can see there. As you go on, because you're winding the fluid and you're putting less on each coat, I've noticed that it dries quicker, so that's always good. Anyway, see you back here for the last coat in a minute. Alright, so same as usual, half a turn in, but this time we do actually put that pressure down a bit. Around 15 psi. That's blending out really nicely actually. I'll just quickly do this before I forget it. Probably noticed I didn't put the fourth coat or the extra coat on the door because it was already silver and there was no cut throughs on the door, so it didn't need the extra coat, but because that's edging up to the door, it did need the extra coat. Solid fretwork there, Gunny, no sanding scratches, blends looking good, helped by the base coat blender, obviously, that's why I use it. It's looking like the metallic's gonna lay down quite nice. I might even break this up into a separate video for clear coat. Give you something to look forward to tomorrow. Back on the daily vids if I can. I'm kind of half settled into my house now, so I'll hope to have a little bit extra time to do the vids, and yeah, I'm going to get a video together for my main channel. You might have noticed I just focused on those edges first, just in case I did run out, because the gun's feeling a little bit light here. Nearly going to run out. But that's good, man. I'm not wasting any product. Done. We can just about leave it like that. Job's looking nice and clean, man. That bumper looks like a new one. No stone chips, no sanding scratches. It's all looking like it's laying down nice and even. Nice blend. Or should I set that out one more time? Just a little bit. so on this angle here you can slightly see something. But that's another thing why I like to use that base coat blender, because you really can't see what your blend looks like, because it just looks like prepped panel to fresh paint, like you're flying blind, if you know what I mean. But at least this way it fills in the sanding scratches so you can see. I think that should be pretty damn good. But yeah, the key to doing a good blend is a good colour match. If the colour's exactly the same, it's going to blend pretty well. Anyway guys, that's about it for this bit. I'll give you guys a look over it once it's dry.
So I did decide to just hang in here for a minute while it was drying, just to make sure I was happy with how it looked when it was dry, just in case I did actually have to put an extra coat down. But it turns out I'm pretty happy with how that looks. There's no visible mottle in the bonnet, the blends look nice. I'm actually quite impressed and quite happy with how this one's coming along. It should look really nice and neat when we're done. Anyway, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Until next time, get out there and paint some shit. Gunman out.